What's going on, everyone? So there's been videos of Jake Laravia in the lab going to work and looking just extra crispy. I mean, the guy is a bucket. I mean, you just watch how smooth, how natural his shot is. And he's a guy, look, that I am incredibly high on. Talked about it from the moment that we got him. I didn't think he was a guy that we'd really be able to get. I thought he'd actually stick around with the Sacramento Kings after being traded. And then we got that video from Laker Nation and, he's hanging out with Austin Reeves and was like, wait a minute, time out. We might actually have something here. And I talked about it, broke it down, but it was kind of like, still, let's wait and see, because Lakers aren't going to have a ton of money, right? I actually think Sacramento probably would have given him more money, but he really wanted to be a Laker. I mean, he said himself that he believed that it was the best fit for him, best fit for his game. And I don't think he's wrong, right? I think he's young. Especially if he wants to get a bag or something, Lakers are probably the best place for that, because if he's really good for the Lakers, it's going to shine a bright light on him. It's going to get him exposure unlike anything else, especially on a team like Sacramento, right? And on top of that, he's playing alongside Luka and LeBron, so it's just the quality of life for him on the basketball court is going to be so easy, especially with his shooting ability, his ability to catch and shoot, but also his defense, right? One of the big things that he talked about this offseason when asked what was the one thing you improved most on, he said defense. And he was already a B+ rated defender. And now you're adding that to, hey, if he can kind of elevate, and we already know he can score the basketball, right? He's a guy that I do think can really have an impact on this Lakers team, right? Like, it's one of the arguments that I've made about the Lakers kind of waiting and standing pat, right? Being patient into the offseason and kind of wait for that right trade, but waiting and see. Like, what if Jake Laravia is exactly what this team needs, right? What if Jake Laravia really is like, an A+ rated defender and ends up being like that legit 3-and-D guy? Like, what if he's giving us like Rui's offensive production, but giving us like better defense? I'm not even saying like Jared Vanderbilt level. I'm talking about just like good defensively, like really like, wow, this kid's good defensively and able to knock down and give us 13 a night or whatever on efficiency, right? Like, he could solve the problem. Why go trade for somebody when you already have that in Jake Laravia? And then, also Jared Vanderbilt and stuff like that. So we'll see. But my whole thing is that like Jake Laravia could be an answer. However, since that video, there's buzz going around of like, yeah, you no longer need Dalton Knecht, right? Because you got a younger guy, by the way, that is already shown that he can light it up with the best of them, that he can go and get buckets and score and shoot and all of that. And, a guy like Dalton Knecht already was on the trade block, already a little expendable, right? And I just said this before. Look, I love Dalton Knecht, but I think what's best for Dalton Knecht is him being traded, right? I really do. If you're a genuine Dalton Knecht guy and you're somebody that, or girl, and you're just like, hey, I love Dalton Knecht. I think he's somebody that could really, kind of just be great for this team, right? I think he could be a superstar, right? Whatever, however you rank Dalton Knecht, right? I think that you should be begging for him to be traded, because I just think he's checked out. And I don't think he means to. I don't think it's something that he's like purposely doing. I don't think he's checked out because, he wants to be. I think he's checked out because he was traded, brought back, and he just hasn't been the same since. And you watch him in Summer League, he looks like a completely different player, and not in the good way. Like Bronny looked like a completely different player, but in a good way, right? And again, you bring in this kid in Jake Laravia, who, he'll be 24 in November, so a month into the season, right? So he's younger. I think he's already better defensively. He's big, he's physical, he's 235, 6'7", 6'8", 235. So he's got like Rui size, but he's more athletic than Rui as far as like lateral movement, lane agility, stuff like that. He's not like a hyper athlete. He's not like, like an Adu Thero, right? Who came in like he's, 41-inch vert and stuff. He's not this like insane athlete, but he is good enough. He's shifty. He can move his feet well, stay in front of guys. It was just, he was a better defensive player last year than he was, than Rui was. And now he's going to be slotted in a Lakers team. I think he could potentially be the answer for the Lakers, right? And then that question becomes like, what do you do with Rui? Do you trade Rui? Do you, bring Rui off the bench? But he's probably not going to be happy about that. And we've seen him come off the bench and check out himself. So it's just, it's a dilemma that the Lakers are going to have to figure out, right? But I do think Jake Laravia coming to the Lakers, I do definitely think kind of it does beg the question of like, Dalton Knecht already was likely to be traded, already expendable. I think now it's like, hey, he should go, right? Because I just think Jake Laravia is going to give you all the same things that Knecht's going to give you, but I think he's going to be more comfortable coming off the bench, playing the role that he's playing because he's not checked out. And I think he has the potential to just be more of an impact guy than Dalton Knecht. He has a little more experience, all of those things. Like, you look at his three-point shooting. For his career, he's 37.1% on 3 attempts from three-point range. Last year for Sacramento, he was 38.5%, so almost 39% on 2.7 attempts. And with Memphis, he was 44.4% on 2 attempts, right? So overall last year, on 2.2 attempts average between those two teams, he was 42.3% overall from three-point range, right? So if he can kind of do that, up his volume a little bit, which I do think he will be able to do, and then, playing alongside LeBron and Luka and just getting the quality of looks that he's going to get, I think he'll be fine. And I think you're going to have, like, my problem with Dalton Knecht is I think he's going to end up getting phased out. And he's already losing value. I think he's just going to continue to lose value. And yes, there's always a team that's going to look at it and be like, we can do better, right? He's young, we can develop him, this, that, and the other, which is possible. But, it's something to kind of keep in mind. Right, you look at Dalton Knecht, he shot 4.4 attempts per game, 37.6%, which is great. Right? Like, don't get me wrong, for a rookie, that's very good on 4.4 attempts. He started out like insanely hot. I mean, he was on pace for 50, 40, 90 club, and then kind of cooled off. It also doesn't help when you're not getting, the volume that you need. Like, one free throw hurts you so much more for a guy that's getting, like 1 a game average than somebody that's getting like 5 or 6 a game, right? Because you're getting the volume to put it up. But I look at the situation. I think Dalton Knecht, regardless, Jake Laravia or not, was expendable. But I think now that Jake Laravia, if he can play the role that I believe he can, and many people do, I think that for sure makes Dalton Knecht kind of the odd man out, because I don't think he's going to get the minutes and opportunity over a Jake Laravia, because I think Jake Laravia is going to be better defensively. I think he's going to give you the same level of offense that you're looking to get from Dalton Knecht, and I just think is going to be a bigger overall impact guy, right? Like, I think it's possible Jake Laravia ends up taking the place of Rui Hachimura. And look, I've said this before, right? Jake Laravia is better right now than Rui was when we got him. Now, I'm not saying necessarily right now, because we still need to see Jake Laravia compared to what Rui's been able to do with this team. But when we got Rui Hachimura, he was the age that Jake Laravia was. And Jake Laravia is better overall than, by a good margin, than Rui was when we first traded for him. So if he can have a similar trajectory to a Rui Hachimura, I mean, Jake Laravia could end up being one of our 3 to 4 best players potentially on this entire roster. But let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.